Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or you're just happy to see me?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are back for the first of the ones and twos. Let me just tweet out that this is live, and we are talking the first in the basically Gremlins films. Gremlins 1, Gremlins 2. I haven't bothered watching the animated show that came out recently because it looked not only ridiculous, but it looked like it contradicted a bunch of shit. So I wasn't going to bother. So I'm not gonna. So if anybody asks, I haven't watched it, and nor do I care to watch it.
I do know that there's a novel of this movie that actually points to alien origin.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm not wild about that. Considering the name Mogwai is Cantonese for devil, demon. I prefer it to be like, kind of like one of those unnatural creatures that it was like, a bit not born of the earth, but basically on this planet. It's just like another species sort of situation. I prefer that versus like extraterrestrial origin.
Yeah. Same here.
So, but anyway, so before I say hello to the chat, we generally, whenever I remember to ask this, after you introduce yourself and where they can find you or in chats, like which one do you prefer? Because there's Gremlins and there's Gremlins 2 that came out like 1990. So like of the two, which one would you prefer?
I am Orange Hat. Everybody, or formerly known as Orange Hat Reviews. I do the occasional review nowadays. I do movie discussions with Mara on Thursdays, twice a month for the singles, which are compliments to the ones and twos. Fridays, I do Orange Hat Uncensored with my friend Janet from Another Planet and her crew. Sundays, I do the weekly recap at 8 p.m. Tuesday afternoons, I do the Tuesday theme streams. Yesterday I did is Rocky IV, either version, a Christmas movie. If you want to know the result of my analysis, go watch them. Also, Wednesdays, twice a month, I do the ones and twos with Mara, and yeah. Also, I do the Barroom Podcast Tuesday nights on my friend Society Reviews channel. As for which one do I prefer between Gremlins 1 and 2, I would definitely have to say the original Gremlins. It had that, as fun as the second one is, it's fun. Where this one is a true Christmas horror, which is really a different, or a lot of people say it's family fun, but it's like, yeah, if you want to traumatize your kids.
I consider it more of a dark comedy, like a dark Christmas comedy with horror elements to it, rather than like a straight up Christmas horror movie.
Yeah.
That's how I watch it, because it is definitely some like very dark comedic moments in this movie. And of the two, I prefer the first one as well, just because of the darker tone. I've always gravitated to those types of films. And like they definitely leaned into more of the family friendly angle in the second one, definitely, as opposed to this one. But yeah, and it's interesting, Trey, that you said that this movie kind of, you watched it as a kid, it kind of got you. For a while, I was unable to watch this movie when I was younger, even though it's like one of my all-time favorite movies. It still is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love it. When I was a kid, I had a bad dream with Gremlins in it. Basically, I just watched it, and how it's the last thing you watch. It's like one of the things you remember in your head, so you have like dreams about it. So I had a bad dream with Gremlins in it when I was a kid, and I woke up, and I'm starting to calm down because I'm like, okay, it's just a dream, like it's fine. And there was light, like from the moon or whatever, that was like shining through my window and cast the perfect fucking shadow on something hanging up in my room. So it looked like a little fucking creature with big ears. And I just lost it.
My brother, the middle child of me and my three brothers, or two brothers and myself, he used to get so traumatized from this movie that if you even did the Gremlins song, dun, 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 that one, he would freak out. And he was older than me at the time when we all saw it at the same time. And he would get so scared. And that was the only thing that I had that could freaking scare him. So it's like, because he was always picking on me, middle kids always go after the youngest. But it's like, da, 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 and he's like, shut up. It's like,
yeah. So, Jaluk, what is up? Good to see you. Says Craig calls me my favorite little Mogwai. Yes. Like I said, I wanted to name one of our cats Mogwai because when she was a kitten, she looked like one.
Oh my god!
Like one. So like, let's call her Mogwai. Yeah, let's call her Mogwai. And we looked up the name, the meaning, and found out in Cantonese, like I said, it means devil or demon. They're like, my family's like, no, you can't name her that because she'll grow into that personality. Guess what fucking personality she grew into despite that?
It's because cats, well, they're naturally little demons.
Yeah. There are exceptions, but yeah, she is kind of like one of those like ones that gravitate like naturally to being like a little devil.
You should have seen what happened to that cat that clawed me in the chest at my cousin's house. I gave that cat a baptism in the backyard pool.
Yes, there is a rule in this movie that does not make any sense when you think about it. However, they do make fun of this rule in the second movie, and we'll kind of go into that a little bit when we talk about the Mogwai themselves. But there's like you think about this rule and you're like, that makes no sense. Right. It like sounds cool. It sounds cool when you say it, but I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right. Ever feed after midnight. So is that daylight savings time, Eastern time, which time?
Yeah, I know, because it's midnight somewhere. Even Zach Galligan, who plays Billy in the movie, he was one of the first ones to point out that like it's midnight somewhere. So like, how is like this rule does not make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the movie with the audio commentary from years later?
No, I need to sit down and watch it because I just rewatched it today, but it was like without the commentary.
Oh my gosh, it is.
There's actually like Zach Galligan did say that it was either he or someone else tied to the movie, but anyway, the animatronics for the Gremlins themselves, like when they become the reptilian skinned creatures, those cost between $30,000 and $40,000 a piece.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and so at the end of the day of shooting, each day, people would have to open up their trunks, and they'd make sure that no one's trying to take them from the studio lots.
Nice.
So, yeah, the original plot was a lot darker. Oh,
you guys have, or Soul Assassin, if you know that, then you know just how dark. I mean, Barney, rip.
Yeah. Yeah, but we'll go into that. Yeah, Billy's mom is killing them gremlins left and right. An actual smart character in a horror movie.
Right.
An actual smart character.
Right.
I mean, she hears a noise and she grabs a knife.
Yeah.
Smart.
And then after she freaking wastes 3 of them, she grabs a knife and then she's like, thinks about it. No, I'll grab 2 knives.
Grab 2.
It's like, this like woman is freaking hilariously smart. In a horror movie. I love it.
She was a badass in that scene. Like, pretty much, it's like, get out of my kitchen.
Yeah. Also, in that kitchen scene, the one that's whipping the plates at her, if you pay very close attention to the wide shot, you can see the rod on the gremlin's hand or arm. And I'm like, movie mistake.
Yeah, there are some movie mistakes in here, like with the Christmas tree scene with the gremlin. So we'll kind of
you can see his eyes a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you see his eye, not only his eyes glowing, but if you actually pay attention when the when the gremlin lunges at her,
Mm-hmm.
you see the person working in the gremlin for
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he's
Frame
like
by
trying
frame.
to hide. He's like trying to hide, but you catch like a little bit of his face.
Yeah.
Oh,
somebody made a metal hollow gremlin. I saw this years ago from that very scene where Zach beheads it and its head flies into the fire. Somebody actually made a fire decoration for a house fire or for a fireplace where it's a gremlin's head that's hollow.
Oh, it's cool.
That you could put in the fireplace. And I'm like, damn, I want that.
Yeah, I want that.
It's like, I want that. I have a freaking wood stove that would look beautiful in.
Yes, I'll be on Kick Friday evening. I got a message. I have to message Cowman to see if he still wants to play the finals. Yeah, this is I still call it Twitter. I don't care if it's called X now. I still call it Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is Orange Hats, and I'll be on Orange Hats channel tomorrow talking Krampus.
Yeah.
Hello, Vanya. Good evening.
Oh my god, I watched that
Eldritch,
one too.
hello.
Like...
It is a Christmas movie. It very much is a Christmas movie. I don't care how dark anyone thinks it is. It is a Christmas movie.
Well, yeah, it fits all the requirements of being a Christmas movie, centered around Christmas. Santa Claus is in it. Christmas music. You have Christmas themes all throughout. It's a Christmas movie. There just also happens to have horror movie or people screaming and dying and creatures running around. So, as well as a beautiful tribute to Snow White.
Yeah, I prefer it to be like an ancient kind of supernatural-esque being as opposed to something alien.
It's a crypto. Just make it.
Yeah, it's like something like like a cryptid, pretty much. It's
or a cryptid. Yeah, that thing.
1984 Gremlins written by George Orwell. Well, I mean, George Orwell was an interesting character, yes, but 1984's Gremlins. So
you want to know something interesting?
Years old next year. Mm-hmm.
Howie Mandel does the voice of Gremlins, but there was another person who we all know who provided a little bit of a voice talent for the Gremlins. And his name, and one of the characters he voiced was Optimus Prime.
Yep.
Peter Cullen actually provided a little bit of Gremlin voice to these movies, as well as the clicking noise for the Predator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, and the Gremlin noises, like they, that's why, the book, having them, be able to converse when you compare it to the movie, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Because in the movie, their dialogue, or what you would call dialogue, is pretty much them reacting to something. Stripe reacting to water, saying water, reacting to the seeing the gun and saying gun. Yeah, like things like that, as opposed to actual having conversations.
Yeah, not to mention when he's going up into that fountain, he's getting a little bit of spritz, which is getting him wet technically, but it's only when he puts his finger in does it start going.
Yeah, I guess because the thing is it's one other little thing about that where I'm like that the water thing doesn't quite they're walking on snow, and snow is crystallized water.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, there's little things in this movie. As much as I love it, there's little things in this movie you actually stop and think, that doesn't quite make sense.
The rules don't really work when you think
rules
about
don't
it.
really work in this movie. They're cool, but they play a little bit fast and loose with the rules.
The only thing that works in this movie is sunlight.
Yes.
I mean, that's the only thing that rule is the only rule that really works.
Again, I love this movie. I'm not trying to talk bad about it, but at the same time, I'm thinking about a couple of rules, and I'm like, you're playing a little fast and loose with those.
Keely, I have no idea what relevance that is right now.
Yeah, 2 wasn't bad. 2 wasn't bad. I'm just saying, like, in terms of tone, I prefer the first one because I always gravitate towards darker ones. But 2 itself is enjoyable. It's enjoyable for what it is. It's doesn't take it, like, it's it leans more to the family friendly elements.
So
But
you get to the
still a little
second
bit like
half
some
of it.
darkness. Still a bit of like a little dark comedy in there.
I mean,
So, hello,
yeah, until you,
Mysterious?
Christopher Lee, man, legend.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna try to be here Saturday afternoon. So on my Twitch, playing some more Resident Evil Separate Ways, which is the Ada Wong DLC. So, yeah. But I will catch up with the chat. I apologize. I'm being scared. I mean, I like scary movies. So, ironically enough,
We both are. How old were you when you saw your first horror movie? Like single digits?
yeah, single digits. Definitely single digits. I know that
I was
because
4.
I Fright Night was one of the first movies I remember watching when I was a kid.
Yeah, same here. 4 years old, folks. I was
Yeah.
4 when I saw Fright Night and Silver Bullet in one night.
Yeah. So
horror movies became something that I liked. There was only one movie that could scare me as a kid, and that was Alice Through the Looking Glass. I'm sorry, but as a kid, that freaking Jabberwocky, as fake as it looks now, was freaking creepy.
yeah. Hello, Keely. Good to see you. Yes, the stream will be mirrored here. So in case anything happens, you can check it out there. Oh, cool. You talk Gremlins on Toxic Tuesday on Nick Weiser's channel. Yeah. So I feel like I wanted to talk Christmas movies for the 1s and 2s, and it was either this or Die Hard 1 and 2, and I was like, I have to go with Gremlins because Gremlins has a special place in my heart. So,
plus, I already did a Die Hard stream this year or this month. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
At me, it is.
Hey, it follows or it meets all the criteria for a Christmas movie, as did Lethal Weapon.
So, and thank you for the gifted memberships. Tatsu, they went to Trey Courtney, Tara Crystal, Keely Chow, Riker, and Soul Assassin. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. So I had to scroll back up on the YouTube side. Let's see. Gaming or what? Hello, thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the replay. If you're unable to stay. Gremlins have great taste in movies. That's what also got me a little bit. That's what also got me. They're watching Snow White in this movie. The Gremlins are watching Snow White and loving it. You know, it's like one of those where it's like I love that scene. And yet, a year later, Fright Night, they wouldn't let him whistle while you work or something like that. It's like there was like Disney put their foot down for Fright Night, but they let him like they could
Gremlins, it's Steven Spielberg, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I was like, okay.
And that's the reason why they had the Raiders of the Lost Ark lettering in the beginning of this movie.
For Rockin' Ricky Rialto.
Yeah. Yes, so I can do the Gremlin voice, folks.
I have like the Neko Gremlin here, and I put the popcorn thing on his ears, like the one in the scene.
Nice.
Yeah, Joe Dante, great direction, and we have him to thank for keeping some things in the movie and not backing down to Spielberg, because it's like some of the things I was reading in the trivia were what Spielberg wanted to do. I'm like, thank you. I'm not listening to him.
Gravy D, you make a great point. Gremlins will hate Rachel Ziegler. Dude, if I could afford, or if I knew where Rachel Ziegler lived, I would fucking send her a Gremlin.
Yeah.
I would buy one of those scale or up to scale reptilian ones, and I would just fucking mail it to her. And she would not know what to make of it. She would not know what to make of it.
The trivia I read said the actual one of the actual inspirations for how the Gremlins look in this movie is the emblem for the Gremlin vehicle, which I'm going to show when I share the screen finally when we talk about this movie. the car Rand Peltzer walks past when, like, the boy is leading him to the shop is a gremlin.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the emblem for that car, it looks very similar to how the gremlins look in this movie. And then, like, the shape and things like that. So that would be the inspiration for the look.
Funnily enough, I also am watching a show with my ma during the days that I'm able to, called Bones, one with Emily Deschanel and David Boreanaz. And the judge, or not the judge, but the prosecutor drives a freaking gremlin.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, this is so fitting. And if you know why, you know why.
Hey Zeng, good to see you.
Zing.
Probably like a big gremlin. They would have a certain kinship. Yeah, they kind of would.
I mean, the woman is a fucking gremlin.
Well, like, the only thing that Rachel Ziegler has anything to do with the Gremlins is the fact that she's going to be in the live-action Snow White for Disney, and the Gremlins are watching the animated Snow White in the movie. So, and like, they love the animated version in the movie, they would hate her version.
Oh yeah, Trey. The Gremlin novel explains the origin of the Mogwai, how they came from a spacefaring race, and they put them all over different planets to teach them about peace. Yeah.
Yeah. So
just don't feed them after midnight, and you'll learn all about peace.
Yeah. But here, I'm going to share the screen again. This is fair use. YouTube. So let me find. Can I find the link? Can I find? There it is. No, there it is. All right. So like I said, this car here with the smoke coming out from under the hood, that's a gremlin.
That a gremlin got into.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a little nod, like a little nod to like the look of the Gremlins and the fact that this movie is Gremlins. And this is the first movie. Well, this actor here who plays Rand Peltzer, his name is why am I fucking blanking on his name? Let me like go back.
Rand.
His dialogue followed the overall script, but a lot of Hoyt Axton, he ad-libbed a lot of his lines.
Good actor.
So, yeah. So I don't even know what his original lines were in the script, but whatever he said worked for the movie. And the grandfather in this scene, let me see if I can get it. This is the first movie I've seen like this actor in. Like I had seen this actor in this. This actor's name is Key Luke, and I was like, I remember commenting, and I made a comment or something one time when I was watching it as a kid. And my parents were like, "Oh yeah, he's been in movies for decades." So other movies I've seen him in that would not be able to be made today, just based solely on the fact that of the socio-political climate within Hollywood now and identity politics and everything, and that was like the Charlie Chan films from the 30s to 40s period. I really don't want them to know about these films. I'm going to say I'm talking about the SJWs.
Because they'll go after them.
Yeah, they will go after them because the Charlie Chan character, who's a famous detective, all right, is not played by an actual Asian actor. The sons, the actors playing the sons, are actual Asian actors, and this one here in particular played number one son. So the actor here is Key Luke. So he was in those films as well as other films in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So he's been like acting for decades. But that's it's kind of like how I first saw this actor in this movie and then kind of gravitated towards watching the Charlie Chan films. First actor to play Charlie Chan was an actor named Warner Oland, and then followed by an actor named Sidney Toller. Very good films. Very good films. I love them. They're detectives. They're detective stories. They're mysteries. They're not stereotypical. Like the Asian characters are not portrayed stereotypically or anything like that. It's like, but like like they would go after them now. So that's why I don't want these SJWs to know about these movies. A little bit noir, not really noir, because noir tends to like kind of lean more into like the darker aspects of those films. They're kind of like more lighthearted. They're mysteries, but they're not dark. Like it's like it's like they're whodunits essentially. They don't really delve into the dark.
I love his shop. I want his shop.
Yeah. So when he like for his small role, like I love like he does a very good job. He does a very good job. He's like he has that element of there's a little bit of foreboding, like when he's like telling Rand Peltzer like it's like the Mogwai is not for sale because the Mogwai is in his shop. So I love the fact that the Mogwai is in his shop. It's out amongst the items that he has for sale.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mogwai itself is not for sale. So yeah, my preference of Tiffany's dad is an Asian stereotype. Dad's like,
well, if you think about it, my reasoning behind why he was out amongst the thing in the shop or all the other things in the shop was mainly because he was just waiting for the right person who was worthy enough to or take on the responsibility for him.
Yeah, because he even
obviously
says,
he's old.
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, when the grandfather here is talking to Billy, he's like, maybe one day you'll be ready. Until then, Mogwai will be waiting.
Soul Assassin, why do you think he's blind in one eye?
Yeah. So he has experience. So he has experience, why he knows a lot about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's been like Key Luke has been around for decades.
Oh yeah, original Green Hornet, or in the original Green Hornet, yeah, definitely.
So good, and the Mogwai saying I love it. Rand Peltzer is an inventor. He basically invents things as means to help out people, and essentially he's trying to, I don't want to say peddle, but he has this invention he's trying to get a patent for. He's trying to get companies interested in, and that's the bathroom buddy. So he invents things like that, pretty much like little things that you're supposed to make life easier around the house or if you travel, things like that. And I feel like he's trying to get this shop owner interested in the bathroom buddy. You got a lot of you got a lot of fine things in this shop, but what you don't have is this. And he's going into what you can get with the bathroom buddy. And what the Mogwai does is sing. I can get shots. You don't see. I love how you don't see. He just opens it.
Yeah, right there.
You just get the back. So you have
the round ears. Yeah.
Yeah. And Steven Spielberg, I'm gonna go back to the trivia because there was something I read that he's kind of like he didn't upset, but he kind of instilled the ire of the man handling
Giz?
The guy who was creating the Mogwai.
Oh.
Where is this? Chris Wallace. Because it says, hold on, I'm trying to find. Executive producer Steven Spielberg changed the design of the Mogwai from moment to moment, greatly upsetting Chris Wallace's workshop. He initially suggested they change the color to brown and white rather than all over brown, which we get with Gizmo, then hairless ears, and then he wanted Gizmo to become more of a sidekick to Billy's hero, doubling the workshop's overstretched schedule. So Steven Spielberg, they were not fans of Steven Spielberg during the making of this movie.
He was a producer who wanted to be the director, but was told no.
Yeah. So they basically gave rise to the theory that Steven Spielberg actually directed this movie. And I'm like, no, Joe Dante actually directed it. You do see some influences in the movie where, like, okay, that's a Spielberg influence. Like, you can tell a little bit, like, throughout the movie that there's, like, this, you can see Spielberg's touch. But Joe Dante ultimately was the one who directed it. And we have him to thank for, like, certain things that happened in the movie that Spielberg wanted to change, but, ultimately it's like step back and let Joe Dante do his thing.
Oh my God, Gravy D. Joe Dante actually came out freaking saying that Baby Yoda was the ripoff. And it's like, as much as I agree, and as much as I'm not a huge fan of Baby Yoda, dude, this was years ago. You gotta let that go. Unless you were actually bringing back a Gremlins 3, you really do not have an argument.
I don't know. I hate Baby Yoda as is, pretty much. But
same here. I mean,
my chat always says I wake up and choose violence, but then I see comments like this, and I'm like, no, I don't choose violence. You all just choose death when you say stuff like this.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, but actually, the Gizmo, like the look of Gizmo, is actually what inspired the fucking Furbies.
Mm-hmm. I remember those evil fuckers. They even had the Gizmo color scheme.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's, if you want to talk about like a knockoff inspiration, pretty much Furbies were inspired by like the Mogwai pre-reptilian skin, obviously, pretty much. The Gizmos look.
Mm-hmm.
Those little demonic looking toys. That's what was inspired from them, pretty much. But anyway, so again, I love how I appreciate how you don't see the Mogwai here, and I love how they kind of keep it in the dark for a little bit. That you don't know what this creature looks like. Rand Peltzer wants to purchase it, the grandfather won't, and like you get the feeling that the kid just sold it to him, and like didn't really behind the grandfather's back.
Yeah, we need the money, and
yeah,
he's crazy.
Yeah. So it's that the grandfather did not relent or anything like that. No, the kid just took the Mogwai and sold it to the Pelter. It's like, what could possibly go wrong? So, and this is going to be a Christmas present for Pelcher's son Billy that we see a little bit later on, pretty much. And this town that we see in this movie, this. Let me just see if I can get a shot.
Yeah.
Was also used for the Back to the Future movie.
Yep.
It's the same lot. Lot. So this movie here, 1984, then fast forward a year, Back to the Future.
I mean, you see the freaking clock tower right there.
Yeah. So there it is, chat. So
welcome to Hill Valley. That is before Hill Valley.
Back to the Future.
Yeah. Hill Valley before Hill Valley.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying I'm saying the kid. Yeah, the grandfather knew. He's going to see that the Mogwai is missing. So I'm not saying that he didn't figure anything out. I'm just saying that the kid sold it behind the grandfather's back, and the grandfather. Obviously it's 1980s. We don't have cell phones or anything. We don't have computers. We can look up information of person's whereabouts or anything. So you can imagine that it would have taken the grandfather time to find where the Peltzers lived.
Not only that, he walked all the way to the Peltzer's house.
Yeah, so I'm saying he would have taken time to find where the Peltzers lived, and then walked to their home, and he knew what was going to happen. He knew what was going to happen, but did not arrive in time. Yeah, he's blind in one eye.
Yeah, he went blind in that eye because the first incidents with the Gremlins, one of them took or injured his eye. That fucking woman.
Yeah, we'll talk about her, but I want to talk about.
I'm sorry. I saw
This
her. And I was
guy,
like,
I
oh,
love this character. I love the Futterman character.
yeah.
Because he's kind of like what would be considered like not like almost a conspiracy theorist. Just because
He's a
he was
conspiracy theorist that gets it right.
yeah, he gets it right. He's against foreign made anything foreign made in America. It's like he has like how like they plant gremlins in the machinery and things like that. So he comes across as crazy, and to an extent he is, but he's right.
The thing is, they put all those gremlins in our vehicles, you know.
Yeah.
That was actually something that was believed during wartime of World War One or of World War II, rather.
Yeah, and he
Um,
mentions World War II, they put
yeah,
gremlins in and he's like, good old WWII. So
yeah,
it's like he has that mentality. But in this case, he's right. In this case, he ends up being right.
yeah.
And he's lost his character has lost his job. You find out these details pretty much. There's deleted scenes and there's details in the book, but you find out this man has lost his job. And a lot of other people are facing that same situation because of. Let me see if I can get a shot of her.
This evil woman.
This bitch here, Mrs. Deagle. Yeah. And I love how it seems like the gremlins target her. They see the name, like they're targeting her. And it makes sense because like they would have overheard conversations.
Yeah.
In the house. And I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself pretty much because right now before Billy's gone Gizmo. Gizmo is the Mogwai, the good Mogwai.
I mean, this woman literally threatens to kill this boy's dog in front of everyone.
In front of everyone, and she even tells how she would do it.
And that dog is not just, and that dog is like, oh fuck no, I'm not dealing with this bitch.
Yeah. And the dog the dog's name is Barney in the movie. The dog's real name is Mushroom. And I read the dog itself is overall great to work with, very well trained, and had the best reactions to certain things, so it looked natural, especially when he was interacting with the gremlins sort of a thing. Yeah. But he would not follow Zach Galligan across the street because you see him following after Billy in one of the opening sequences. So they had to get one of those wires, there's something that it could be blend in and not be seen easily, so they were basically connected to each other. So when Billy crossed the street, Mushroom would follow him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the dog was very well behaved, very well trained.
I mean, that's why if you're gonna freaking do a movie with the dog's name, or if the dog's name is different than the dog or the character of the dog's name, just go with the fucking dog's name.
So
I mean, honestly, Mushroom, Barney, how do they sound alike? They don't. One's a dinosaur, one's a fungus.
Gizmo is good.
Yes.
Gizmo is good. If you're talking about how they go after Deagle, I guess I would make them kind of anti-heroes at that point, but they're not good guys. But I like, they target her because they know because not only reading her name, but they kind of they know.
Yeah, they know that this bitch is evil.
Yeah,
and very easy to get to, Yeah.
And
I love how this woman is so freaking obsessed with money. She names all of her cats currency.
Yeah, Kopeck, ruble, dollar bill,
freaking peso, and drachma.
Yeah.
Yeah. All these cats are different names for currency.
And she's going after basically businesses, getting them to close down. There's a business called Dory's Tavern in this movie that she's trying to get closed down, calling it a dive.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess SJW should watch this movie and be how dare they make a woman evil? How dare they make a woman evil? Because there can be nothing negative about women. Women are perfect. But like the woman is the villain in this movie. Like, if we exclude the Gremlins, she's the villain of the movie.
Yeah.
She's the villain of the movie.
Oh dear God, yes. If ever there was a woman who truly deserved death in film, it was Mrs. Deagle.
Yeah. Small
And her
Soldiers
husband.
And Krampus are great Gremlins-like movies. We'll be talking Krampus tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
On Orange House Channel.
Her husband is a freaking felony swindler that is in prison, I believe, or dead or something.
Yeah,
because she's a widow.
Because they're talking on the news, like, wife of like swindler, like like they're going over like let
me look
her husband
up.
Like crimes. Yeah, she's like the female version of Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life, which incidentally is shown that you see it like a scene of this It's a Wonderful Life in this movie. And there's also scenes of It's a Wonderful Life in the Home Alone 1 and 2. As this movie was written by Chris Columbus, who also did Home Alone 1 and 2. So you have Chris Columbus writing this movie, Joe Dante directing it, Jerry Goldsmith is a music composer, and Steven Spielberg as one of the executive producers, because it's Amblin Entertainment and Warner Brothers. That's this movie. Hey, Ms. Martin, hello.
Widow of convicted stock swindler Donald Deagle.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but that in a way creates another problem, because if they realize that this man was a stock swindler and whatnot, he would have lost all his money.
Unless she came from wealth too.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, there is a problem, but it could be plausibly explained if she came from wealth too.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, she was smart with whatever money she got from him or something like that, invested or something like that. So he would have lost his money, but she may have, been smart about hers. So, yeah, I'm kind of I'm assuming that she's old money.
Yeah, possibly. That's my guess.
But she's a bitch. But that's the fact that she's threatening Billy's dog, and we'll talk about Billy. Let's talk about just a little bit of trivia here about why this movie would have been darker. Ready to be darker. And one of the reasons this movie would have been darker, if they had not changed things, and I'm glad they did, was Barney was going to die in the movie. The Gremlins would have killed Barney.
Not just killed him, they would have ate him.
Yeah.
They were going to eat him.
Yes. So that was one of the things originally that was at least contemplated for this movie.
Yeah.
Another one, and we'll talk more about the mother later on. Another thing that would have made this movie darker is the mother was originally supposed to die in one of the original drafts. And not only was she supposed to die, but the Gremlins would have decapitated her and rolled her head down the stairs.
Yep. I heard about that today, folks. I heard about that today before, an hour before we got into the stream. And it's holy shit, that's dark.
So this movie is barely, in my opinion, barely family friendly as is. But those are two things that they had actually thrown about as possibility, possibly being in the movie. Hey, Mud Crab.
Hey,
so especially would have been a slasher film, yes. Yeah.
I mean, holy shit, man.
There's another bit of trivia that I read today that there was also Steven Spielberg also had the idea. I think it was Spielberg, but the idea thrown around of them, basically overrunning a McDonald's in the movie and eating the people.
Yeah. Did you
not
also
the burgers, the people?
And also, to put the icing on the cake here, Gizmo and Stripe were supposed to be one and the same character.
Yeah. Originally,
Gizmo was supposed to be a gremlin.
Yeah.
And perfect way to bring this up. A few years back, I actually did a fan fiction continuation of Gremlins, where it was a third installment, and he got wet again and spawned other ones, and they forced him to eat, or they tied him up and forced him to eat after midnight. So Gizmo becomes a gremlin, but he still maintains his good personality.
Mm-hmm.
And so he also realized he can't go back to Mogwai. So after he kills all of the gremlins, but also allows himself to be killed. I mean, I was at a point where self-sacrifice just was something to be a good ending in a movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I was at that phase when I was doing some writing early on. And it's like, that kind of would make sense. That would be the perfect way to end it, so they can't have another one, so they can't screw it up in the 2020s.
Let me see if I can get
a slasher movie with Gizmo after midnight to end all slasher movies.
Real fast. So this is the first shot we get. So, but this is the design they ended up on with like the Mogwai.
Yep,
right? Because basically, they're Mogwai when they look like this, and then they like Gremlins when they become like the more reptilian skinned versions of themselves. And these little animatronics things were like the worst to deal with in this movie because they kept breaking, and they were like, it's like difficult to manipulate because they were on the small side.
Not only that, sets had to be drilled into to allow the wire works for these things. Clever editing had to be done. So when he goes in, when he goes in after he drops Giz in the trash can, goes into the bathroom, puts him down, goes over, takes to take care of something. They had to pull the normal one off, put the puppet in there, the one that can move in there, and then they had to cleverly shoot around the wires so they didn't see the wires.
As well as you can see, like, some like, a lot of, like, a good number of the shots in this movie, especially with the Gremlins, are low lit. They're low lit, and that's a film technique to kind of hide issues with the special effects.
Yep.
Issues with the practical effects, because they even had some issues with the animatronics for the gremlins themselves, so they would shoot with little light, so enough for you to see it, and at night, but dark enough that you cannot see what's going on. Like I said, the issues they were having. But the smaller ones were actually the worst to deal with, to the point where they actually had there's actually a reprieve of sorts during the scene when Gizmo is tied to the dartboard and the gremlins are throwing darts at Gizmo. Didn't take much for them to work that animatronic because he's just shaking, so they didn't quite have to move him too much. So that's a reprieve for the effects departments. So what they would do is they'd give a list, horrible things to do to Gizmo, and now they would work around that in terms of dealing with everything that was happening with the animatronics for the Mogwai creatures. Let me see if I can find the trivia for that.
Also, Corey Feldman is in this movie.
Yep. The Gizmo puppets were particularly frustrating because they were smaller, broke down more. To satisfy the crew, a scene was included in which the Gremlins hang Gizmo on a wall and throw darts at him. This was included on a list that the crew created to them as the horrible things to do to Gizmo list. So basically, to give a reprieve to the crew because of how often these things would just outright drive the crew crazy. They created that list. Horrible things to do to Gizmo.
Oh yeah. Friday the 13th.
Yeah, two was enough years later that they could get away with daytime shots, and this one here, because they were using practical effects, a lot of practical effects, and even then, it was thought that there were too many Gremlins. Where'd I read this? Um,
Well, when
where
you
was
empty
it?
a whole pool full of water into a gremlin,
Yeah.
kind of makes sense that there would be hundreds. Which all the excuse me, that scene, folks, if you pay close attention to it, where you see Stripe coming out, waving out his soldiers, and seeing them all moving around,
Yeah.
stop motion.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine having to shoot all that and stop them all at the same and
Yeah.
stop, shoot, stop, shoot, stop, shoot, stop, shoot, stop. Imagine having to do that with hundreds of fucking gremlins.
So, well, it's like one scene, but here's where I'm glad Steven Spielberg wasn't listened to.
Yeah.
One of the studio notes to director Joe Dante and executive producer Steven Spielberg on seeing the first cut was that there were too many gremlins. Spielberg suggested cutting them all out and calling the movie People, according to this trivia. Which, what? Kind of defeats
Spielberg
the
must have
purpose.
been going through a mental health phase at the time.
Yeah, because I'm like, that kind of defeats the purpose.
What year was this movie?
84.
Yeah, this was already after he had his heart attack 10 years prior. Because he had a heart attack making Jaws. And so, yeah, probably did have a little bit of oxygen not going to his brain during that heart attack and probably made him a little stupid at times.
Probably, because I'm like, I understand maybe cutting back on the number of gremlins, but to completely cut them out of the movie, and who's going to see a movie called People?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Trey, you want to see stop motion done right? Watch Shin Godzilla.
Yeah. Euphoria is finishing primary school. Well,
what is primary school?
Yeah, you just dated yourself, Mudcrab.
Wait, isn't that grade school for Brit or for UKs?
Well, Mudcrab is Aussie, so yeah, it's the same thing.
Or yeah,
I primary school is pretty much elementary school. So
for colonists. Joking.
So I'm gonna jump through. Like, you know, we're not going to talk about Corey Feldman's character. He's has a memorable part.
He's the annoying Robin to the cool Batman.
Yeah. So we find out what happens when the gremlins get wet. They multiply.
Yeah.
So when Gizmo gets wet, accidentally, when Corey Feldman's character accidentally knocks over this jar with paintbrushes in it, because Billy's an artist. He sketches. So he knocks over this jar of water. These paintbrushes are in, gets onto Gizmo, and that we find out what happens. They multiply, but they're not like Gizmo.
No, their personalities are very mischievous.
Yes.
Also, Giz, for those of you who probably didn't pick up on this, Gizmo didn't like Billy at first, especially when he dipped him into the frickin' trash can by accident due to the bright light reflecting off the mirror. If you paid close attention to what Gizmo is saying, you realize that he's saying, God damn it, what the hell's wrong with you? I mean, he's basically, you clearly hear a God damn it from Gizmo. And it's like, he really freaking hates Billy at first until he warms up to him.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a Road Warrior poster on Billy's wall. So he's a man of culture. There's a Road Warrior poster on Billy's wall. You see the bottom of it, but you see clearly the Road Warrior.
Oh my God, that thing just streaming out a stream of barf.
Yeah, when he spits at
Gizmo. It's like
and there's Stripe there. So basically, I love how they did this with Stripe to kind of set him apart from the other gremlins, giving a little stripe on his head. You're the oldest here, so young people be nice to me. Get off my lawn. Yes. All right, so there's 5 gremlins total, including Stripe, that basically pop out of Gizmo. And I love how Billy's reaction is to take one of them to the science teacher. see if we can figure out, what's going on, like what these creatures are. When I say science teacher, I mean for
yeah,
like middle school age kids.
Also, whatever happened to that vial of blood?
I don't know.
Does make a person wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a vial of gremlin blood out there, folks, that the teacher took.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never heard from again after the blood sample is taken.
Yeah. He never mentioned if he sent it off or anything, where it is. So it's still around. So, but we I don't know if that was a good idea. Well, we find out, it's to show the teacher what exactly happens. Billy takes one of those droppers, drops a little bit of water on the gremlin. Now we have 6. 6 like the like one more like the 5. So now 6. I don't see, the thing is, Mike, I don't know, because you don't see the gremlin.
It's never resolved.
Yeah, it's never really resolved. We don't see him take it. We don't know where the science teacher put it. We do it's like I don't think the gremlin was in the room long enough for him to find it.
Yeah. I do like how he took a bite out of a plastic apple.
Yeah.
He was just like really hungry. And he's like, nom, nom.
Yum. And he's just throws it.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God.
It's again, a lot of the gremlins' reactions, dialogue, is basically just reactions to certain situations. Like, they see food, they say yum yum.
Mm-hmm.
They say Billy's name, Billy. They say Deagle. Yeah. So they're mischievous, they're clever, but they are not very vocal. Except when they laugh, pretty much. And I appreciate that. Because I don't want to know a lot about these creatures. I don't want to know a lot. They're gremlins. There's an air of mystery to gremlins, with the conspiracy theories and beliefs from World War II. And so let's say for shits and giggles, that's all true, right? The Nazis put gremlins into things, all right, or gremlins would appear and screw with machinery and things like that. I don't want to know their origin.
Well, probably one of the freaking German scientists got a hold of a mogwai and just started fucking with them.
Yeah.
Well, experimenting, folks.
For shits and giggles, let's say these are real, and let's say say one of those German scientists got a hold of the mogwai and figured it out, and just unleash them on allies
on the Allied forces,
aircraft and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but and I love how they have them change. Going through the metamorphosis, they don't just eat and then all of a sudden just change. When Gizmo gets wet, basically see these balls of fuzz pop out and form into gremlins. But when they go from this to what makes them gremlins, I love how they metamorphosize.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have to go into a cocoon to go through those changes, which adds an element of creepiness to them, because you're looking at these little, and I love how they have Invasion of the Body Snatchers alongside alongside that.
Mm-hmm.
They're huge seed pods. What are they in? They're in little pods. Might be a Xeno egg, yeah.
And those things look creepy too, by the way.
Twilight Zone. Are you talking about that deranged teddy bear looking thing? Yeah, that was supposed to be a gremlin.
Oh my God! I remember back in the 90s, the Simpsons Halloween, where there was a gremlin on the side of the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And freaking Bart
was
trying to convince everybody.
Yeah, I love Nightmare at 20,000 feet, but like the design for that gremlin, I was like, come on.
Otto, there's a gremlin on the side of the bus. And he looks
Yeah.
over. It's that old man driving a gremlin car. It's like,
Yes.
don't worry, Bart, dude. I'll get rid of it for you. Runs the old man off the road. And the car explodes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
So I have a, I'm skipping over parts. But I want to ask you, like, what do you like? Like we were talking about. We'll talk about Billy, and we'll talk about Let's get a
Phoebe
shot
Cates.
of them together.
Yeah.
Phoebe Cates. All right, so like these characters, like
they had great chemistry.
Yeah.
Which was another good part of the trivia, because apparently they didn't want Phoebe Cates on this movie due to her raunchy role from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Which is like ironic because Judge Reinhold, who's also in this movie, was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Mm-hmm.
So
and so she comes in, and then they were gonna have other people for Billy, but Galligan comes in and they just clicked really well. And I gotta say, man, her Christmas story.
yeah, I was gonna ask you, what do you think about the story? Because we find out we find out why she doesn't like Christmas. She lets on that she doesn't celebrate Christmas. She doesn't like it, and then we find out why.
Gizmo's expression says it all. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "What?" Because she tells this horrifying story, folks, about what happened to her father and the truth about Santa Claus and whatnot. And it's like, holy shit, man. This movie just took a downer to the downer. But
I think Spielberg wanted that, it's one of his suggestions, to take that story out.
Yeah.
But Dante's the one that wanted to keep it in.
Dante wanted it in because he's like, because people won't know whether or not she's bullshitting you or not.
Yeah, because they can make her, because I'm not saying like we need a reason for everything, but if you have a character in a movie that says like I don't celebrate Christmas or something like that, and then like without any, I guess, good explanation or at least reasonable explanation, at least in terms of like why, they just come across as like a Grinch character. Like, okay, you're just a mean one, Mr. Grinch kind of thing. Whereas here, it's like, okay, that's understandable because she was traumatized as a child.
I mean, her father frickin' was gonna come down the chimney, dressed like Santa, bringing Christmas presents, slipped and broke his neck, and he started to stink up the house. And it's like, oh my God, man. She's 9 years old.
Yeah.
And she didn't witness it, but she saw his dead, stinking body dressed up as Santa coming out. And it's like, oh my God, man. Really? Yikes. And that's when I learned there was no such thing as Santa Claus. And it's like, holy shit. This woman has seen shit that makes Gremlins look tame.
Yeah. So,
but I love
it. We have kind of Zach Galligan to thank for her casting because of the chemistry they had when they auditioned, and he had auditioned with her before for other things, so he was comfortable with her. And they actually there's a, I don't know if there's we can find this picture, but at one point Phoebe Cates was sitting down and Zach was sitting next to her, and he put his head on her shoulder, and I think it's Spielberg or Dante commented you actually look like a couple. You actually look like a couple because they end up being a couple by the end of this movie, pretty much. But that's because they have such good chemistry together.
Mm-hmm.
And Judge Reinhold, right? He has a small role, so the last time you really see him is when he's talking to Peltzer or Billy Peltzer in Dory's Tavern a bit earlier in the movie. That's the last time you see him in the movie. And there's a line he has where it alludes to James Bond. It alludes to James Bond because he asks for a martini, and he's supposed to say shaken, not stirred. But he kept flubbing the line. He kept
stirred,
whatever
not
reason he kept
shook.
messing it up. And
So
that
shook.
the line that ends up in the movie is ultimately like what they decided on, and it works. And Joe Dante said in the scheme of things, it actually worked because it demonstrated once more how pretentious and clueless he is.
Yeah, how pompous the guy is.
Yeah. He's basically the quintessential 80s yuppie asshole in this movie. You know.
Yeah. I'm 23. I'm gonna be vice president 25, and you're gonna be out of a job.
Yeah. So he's basically a dickhead.
You haven't seen my new apartment. I haven't seen your old apartment. I love her counter there. It's like, I haven't seen your old apartment.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you come on by? I'm working. Well, it's not like they could dock your pay.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
we find out that she's basically working for free.
Yeah.
At Dory's to help him out during the week. Like, so he has there's a waitress there to help him.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm sorry. At that point, I would have taken the goddamn picture and I would have just dumped it on him.
Yeah. So he's usually a nice guy in movies, but in this one, he's actually like a believable asshole. Like he's like, it's like he has an air of pompousness to him that just works.
Wasn't it Fast Times at Ridgemont High that he was whacking in the bathroom?
Yeah. That's what I said. Like he was in that movie and like he was whacking at the Phoebe Cates' character. So ironically, he's trying to hit on Phoebe Cates' character in this movie, and she's turning him down.
Yeah, she's getting back at him because of all the whacking he did.
Yeah. So like we find out later on why, because Billy's finding out here that she doesn't celebrate Christmas, but like we don't know why. And we find out later on why she doesn't celebrate Christmas, and so this is. I love how it's like, it's a little over an hour and 40-minute long movie. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take too long to get into. Like,
yeah, it's like
about halfway through the movie. Minutes, that's where the Gremlins pop in, pretty much, and they trick Billy. Well, they don't trick him. They kind of like complain as Mogwais can do, like make noise, annoy him. That they want food.
Yeah.
And while he's gone. Well, because he checked the time. While he's gone, the Gremlins are smart and figure out, hey, if we pull the cord, if we kind of rip the cord and stop the clock, he's not going to realize that we're also eating after midnight if he gives us his chicken, because he basically falls asleep.
And then we realize at the same time, that at the same time at the high school, it's after 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
Yeah, so the Gremlin, the Mogwai are smart. So they trick him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the clock looked like before midnight, but nope. And I don't know if Billy the teacher forgot the rules, or Billy neglected telling the teacher the rules, because the teacher leaves a sandwich close enough to the crate for the Mogwai to get. So this is about halfway through the movie is when it all goes to shit, pretty much. And I want to talk. Okay, I'm going to skip over what happens to the teacher. The teacher, I mean, the Gremlin killed him. I mean, unless I find out otherwise, he's dead.
Air bubble in the ass.
Yeah, so I want to talk when this scene, because the mother's home alone. The mother's home alone. She hears a noise. And the only thing that could possibly make a noise in this house, other than Gizmo, are something that's popping out of those pods in the attic where Billy is, where his room is.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how in every other horror movie you have the person make a stupid decision and just investigate without anything to defend himself or herself with. She's making cookies. She's baking like gingerbread cookies. And she hears a noise and she reaches down for a big knife.
Oh yeah.
And arms herself. I'm like, smart woman.
When you have a character like that that's smart, she deserves to live.
Yeah. That's why I was like, when I read the trivia that originally like her character was going to die in a horrific death, I'm like, how do you have her like be smart like this? And like, that still happened. No, like, she was smart. She knew it wasn't Billy. She knew the only two options: Gizmo, but Gizmo's small. He wouldn't really make that much noise. Or something's happening with the pods.
Yeah.
So she arms herself. And I love the scene leading up to it. I love the scene leading up to her entering the kitchen, because you see a shadow of a gremlin. I want to see if I can take it back. You see a shadow of a gremlin. Let me see, right here. Pause and stop. Because we saw a quick shot of a gremlin.
Right there.
Yeah. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of like just walks, like the gremlin like walks into the kitchen and she's like following the noise. And it just follows her going badass on these gremlins. Like, she doesn't panic or anything like that. She sees opportunities and she like takes them pretty much. Like when the gremlin's like licking the mixer bowl, the electric mixer bowl, she just reaches over, presses like the button.
Filet mignon.
Yeah,
or
just like,
filet au gratin.
Gremlin blood like shooting all over the kitchen, pretty much.
Yeah, black evil gremlin blood.
Yeah. So this one meets the demise of like at the electric mixer.
Yeah.
Then as she's looking at that, you see the other gremlin like toss.
Now that was the one that she killed with pure malice. Do you want to know why? Because it was eating her cookies.
I'm trying to get a shot. Like, you see the, not here. Like,
actually, it was right here is the shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
When his arm goes up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really get a good shot, but you see the mechanism moving the arm.
Yeah, you see the rod.
Yeah. And she and she's the one that says, "Get out of my kitchen," and she just stabs if you look at the gremlin on the counter after she's done, it's still moving.
Mm-hmm.
It's
dying
still moving.
slowly.
It's not dead. So she left it there, basically impaled to her counter to die a slow death.
So not only is she smart, she's sadistic.
Yeah. And then the third one in this, throws a tray at her, and she grabs the non-stick spray and sprays the gremlin to get it back into the microwave. Like this woman here just went Sarah Connor on 3 gremlins in her kitchen.
Her freaking expression when she does it is just pure dead inside, kind of almost sociopathic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, right there, man.
Yeah. And then, I'm not sure what button she presses, but she basically just
cooks it
explodes a gremlin in her microwave. Yeah, Billy's mom, Rambo mom. They drew first blood, not me.
Yeah.
So she's killed 3 in the kitchen. I love how she's killed 3 in the kitchen. She knows, she hears noise and she knows like there's more, because there was more than 3 pods in the attic.
So she grabs a knife, and then she grabs another. Ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I see. Okay, I'm gonna get that shot.
Yeah.
1, and then she thinks about it 2.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like, she's gonna go dual blade on their asses.
Yeah.
And instead, she ends up killing
where, she thinks there's a gremlin in here, but I'm gonna see if I can get a shot. See
Yeah, the eyes.
The eyes right there. I love how it
Yeah.
looks like Christmas lights. It
Yeah.
looks like Christmas lights. They're glowing. And then, watch.
Boom.
See, boom. You see that little bit? It happens fast. You see that little bit of red there
Yep.
on the side, right here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's
That's
the
the
guy.
person working the gremlin puppets in the
Probably
tree.
Corey Feldman stuck in his own tree.
Yeah, so a little bit of a movie goof in this scene.
They had a lot of them back then.
So, but at the same time, it's like it's quick.
Yeah, it's quick.
It's quick.
That's what makes
And
them
it's
so good, though, because it's like you get to see a little bit of the movie magic, even though it's technically a mistake.
Yeah, and I love like the gremlins taking these Christmas lights and like choking her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, like the gremlin means devil, demon in Cantonese. So it's basically it's witnessed her kill 3 of his mates, pretty much.
Yeah.
So so this gremlin is going to kill her, and he's like choking, and like Billy comes in, and like what I failed to mention again, this is a time again when little things are like happen in movies that come full circle. Essentially, come full circle because there's these 2 swords, right? They're displayed by the door, and as a kind of a running gag in this movie, when the door is shut, the front door is shut, one of the swords will fall. All right, one of the swords will fall. Pick it up, put it back on like the display. Pretty much, it's a little bit of a running joke with that. And Billy grabs one of those swords and just lops his gremlin's head off. And remember callbacks? Yeah, so it's again kind of comes full circle. Grabs one of those swords near the door, and just like takes this gremlin's head off.
And I like how that sword is actually sharp enough to do so, because the thing is, folks, when you have swords that are wall decorations, they're by law not supposed to be sharp.
Yeah, see, like in the back, which I didn't mention earlier, those swords. I'm sorry, like this is Amazon, so it's highlights, but there's swords in the back.
Yeah.
And
it's like, hey,
and he goes, hey, and I love how you hear the gremlin go, uh-oh.
Yeah, right. Like that off.
Yes.
Oh,
hey,
I gotta take it off.
Uh-oh. That uh-oh is the gremlin going, uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's why I call this a dark comedy. Because this is not supposed to be funny. This is not supposed to be funny. He's saving his mother and is chopping a gremlin's head off, but you hear the gremlin go, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Before it gets decapitated.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like there is a fireplace thing that you can get a hollow gremlin head for your fireplace.
This guy made it.
Yeah.
He only made the one for his own, and it's like, son of a bitch, I want that.
Yeah, like he should find a way to patent it and mass produce it, because like there's people who are gonna want it.
He'd get sued by Spielberg.
So,
Spielberg is extremely covetous of shit that is under his copyright shit.
Yeah, that's why I think Spielberg is overall an asshole. So.
Oh yeah, he's definitely an asshole. I mean, look at what he did to. As much as I hate Kathleen Kennedy, he's the one that actually told her, "Get your ass on stage for Temple of Doom."
Yeah. So, but and Stripe escapes. Yeah, Stripe escapes because I can.
Yeah.
Stripe's whole motivation is to make more gremlins, because now he's the only gremlin at this point. So he's going to wreak havoc on this small town, and to do it, he finds the pool, the community pool.
Soul Assassin, I think, just found a gremlin Yule log. That might be the one that, or it turns out that maybe they did finally make one, because the one I saw was from years ago, and it was made of metal. It wasn't one that you burned. It wasn't one that
Stripe was smart. He saw 4 of his brothers die, and he's like, I have to make more.
It's like, yep, more.
And he's not only going to make more, he's going to make enough to literally wreak havoc on this town.
Nice. Oh yeah. He's like, you kill my brethren, I'll slaughter your town.
Yeah. So, and this is like where this movie starts to get dark and like goes full, like basically full dark comedy horror. Especially in the Dory's Tavern scene. Especially in the Dory's Tavern scene with the Gremlins.
And there's a reason why Gremlin, Gizmo is not seen for a good long stretch in this movie. That's because, as I said earlier, Stripe and Gizmo were supposed to be one and the same.
Yeah.
It was originally shot that Gizmo was a gremlin.
Mm-hmm. So.
Hence why he looks at him in this scene. He looks right at him and then just freaking busts out and leaves.
Yeah.
It's like a last look at a friend who just basically now feels betrayed and is going to just kill.
Yeah. So, and one of the deputies is played by Jonathan Banks, and I think like wasn't he in Breaking Bad?
Jonathan Banks.
Like he's been around a long time. It's one of those things where it's like you look at his face, go, oh,
the one sitting down or the one standing up?
Sitting down. He's a deputy. He's a deputy. He's played by Jonathan Banks, I believe. And I believe he was in Breaking Bad. So that's this actor here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, I know that actor. Yeah. He was also that dude plays bad guys in all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
He's usually kind of like just a bad guy.
And here he's kind of like I don't want to say goofy deputy, but he's not a bad guy.
Yeah. No. He was good in the Highlander series where he played a bounty hunter and Richie's first kill. But
yeah, but here he's a deputy.
Yeah. And it's like, holy crap, dude.
One of my favorite exchanges in this movie is between him and the sheriff when they're leaving to go investigate this the freak accident call with Futterman and his plow, which we'll kind of like touch on a little bit. He's like, I want to drive. No, I'm going to drive. You always get to drive because I'm the sheriff, asshole.
Yeah, right. No, you're not driving. You're drunk, but you always get to drive. Yeah, I'm sheriff, asshole.
Yeah, I love that exchange. But they're going to investigate a freak accident. And what did you think of the scene where Futterman
goes to check on the stuff? Yeah,
goes to check on the plow,
and then gets attacked by the plow,
and realizes there's gremlins
in the cab. They're real. And his wife is like, watch out, shut up, all right. And then they see that the thing's coming in. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was vindication for Futterman, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
It literally was vindication.
And that actor was only had a bit part in another movie of the same year because he had to go and film this movie. Which was
Howling, right?
No, Terminator.
Oh, Terminator. Oh yeah, he was in Terminator.
He was the gun shop owner.
The actor who plays Futterman was also in The Howling. And there were similar techniques used in The Howling that were used in this, like the low light to hide, like the issues with the practical effects, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot he was the gun salesman. I forgot he was the gun salesman.
Yeah. And, oh my God, man. What is his name? I can't remember his real name. I think it was like Dick something or...
Dick Miller, I believe.
Yeah, Dick Miller. I mean... Rest in peace to him. And I love the scene where he was leaving Dory's. And they're like, maybe you should walk home. Or maybe you should walk home, Mr. Futterman. Yeah, maybe I should walk home.
I love he plays that drunk scene real well. Like maybe you should maybe you should walk home. And he's like, you know what, Katie? I think I'll walk home. He had the idea.
Like it was his idea. I also like or he's like, all the goddamn gremlins and shit, and fucking foreign cars, and
there's deleted scenes for this movie, and one of them, like we find out, like how he lost his job, and again, like goes back to Mrs. Deagle that she was basically going after like businesses which would ultimately close and thus put people out of work.
Mm-hmm.
She was that type of person, and
she was trying to ruin the town because because her husband got arrested.
Yeah, so she's like, and currently going after Dory's Tavern.
Yeah.
So that's how Futterman basically lost his job, and there's no way for him to get his job back. So he's basically unemployed, and that kind of like adds an element to his character of like why he is the way that he is.
I mean, that bitch is so evil. In the beginning of this movie, she's literally talking to a woman who is pretty much almost in dire straits and out on the street, and after Deagle disappears into the building, "Mommy, I'm hungry." "Yeah, honey, so am I." I mean, Mrs. Deagle, it's Christmas. Well, now you know what to ask Santa Claus for this year. It's like, this bitch deserves to die.
Yeah, because this woman's trying to tell her that like her husband was able to get another job, but like could you give us a reprieve, things like that sort of situation, like till we get back on our feet. And this one wouldn't even do that.
Nope. And she even looks at the kids and calls them deadbeats.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman truly set herself up for a most horrific death when the carolers come a singing, and it turns out to be gremlins. And I love that she's actually having a heart attack this time. And she's like, "They've come for me." And it's like, yes, they have. And
I love how like she was ready to toss a pitcher of water onto them. Let me see if I can get a shot of her holding it. Like she has a pitcher of water that she was going to throw at the carolers, and I want to get. There's NECA figures of these Gremlin carolers. I want them as like Christmas decorations. I want those figures.
Oh yeah, Mike Hill. Oh yeah, he voiced it, or Optimus Prime voiced one of the Gremlins. Yeah.
So that would have made things worse. Yes. So I love like the irony that she would have made things worse, but she ultimately ends up not doing that because she's panicking and she starts having an actual heart attack.
And then it's like, "They've come for me." Who's they, woman?
Yeah. So
who are you afraid of?
She's panicking, and
freaking Stripe screwed with he screwed with her chair.
So
her stair chair.
Let me see if I can get a shot of the. Hold on. Hey, Christmas carolers. She's basically like Scrooge. At least developed a
screechy voice, little glue sniffers. Or no, it's not Stripe.
Yeah, but a Gremlin does mess with. She has one of those chairs that like you sit on and goes up and down stairs for people who are unable to walk up and down stairs. Yep. And while her attention is focused on the carolers, he's basically hot rewiring it. So when she hits the button, she just gets shot up the stairs.
Yep.
So,
I love it. And folks,
not supposed to be funny, but I fucking laughed when she was shot out the window. That's how fast she was going. I think he's frozen. So.
Okay. Who froze? Was it me or you?
Yeah, you. I think you froze just a little bit.
I think I froze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, she freaking pushes that button, and when she flies out the freaking window, I love that. "I'm not ready." It's like, not ready. Well, you better be.
And hits the button.
2, 1. Boom. I love it.
I want to get this shot right here.
Yeah, we gotta show it.
That blur there. Boom. She's like out the fucking window.
It's like she clears the fucking trees, man. She clears the trees, the road, and everything. Oh my god!
And I love how when they look over and see it's Mrs. Deagle. She's still sitting on the chair.
Yeah, legs up. She's dead, man. I mean, her head is probably freaking smashed melon by that time.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, it's horrific, folks. It's horrifying. It's horrible. And Yeah, it's still fucking hilarious.
I know. I'm like laughing at it. It's still hilarious. It's like I'm not. It's like one of those things where
oh,
it's like that's what makes it a dark comedy. That's what makes it a dark comedy. It's like it's so horrible. Like what happened? Like you hate this character, but it's so horrible what happens to her. But at the same time, it's like you have to laugh. The fact, like,
and then you
how
see
she
fucking Santa Claus with a bunch of gremlins all over him.
yes.
Like, oh
It's
shit!
like that's so and so. He plays Santa Claus every year, and he's like got 4 or 5 gremlins hanging from him.
Oof.
You have a gremlin messing with the brakes on the squad car, pretty much.
Yep.
You have a gremlin messing with the traffic lights.
Yep. I mean, they're just going off. They're just screwing around, causing mischief, man.
Yeah.
How can you not laugh? Exactly, Gravy D.
And I'm gonna get the show Dory's Tavern.
Yeah.
I love this part. I love this part. There's actually one of the screams that Phoebe Cates has is like actually a genuine scream in the scene because a cockroach scuttled in front of her during like filming, and like one of the screams is like her actually screaming at seeing this cockroach.
Oh my god. But yeah, I love the one. Oh, dang it. But I love the one that goes, it's like they're just standing there. Whoosh. It just
flash. The flashing gremlin. I also want to get that NECA. That is also a NECA figure you can get. Just the flashing gremlin, I believe. You can get that. I love like Stripe is like playing poker.
Yeah.
And one of the gremlins like obviously cheats. Like obviously cheats by like trying to like stick a card in.
His ear.
Yeah. And the one dressed as a female tells Stripe, and all Stripe does is pull out a revolver.
I can hear you, don't worry.
Do you have like the ones also at the bar rocking back and forth like they're drunk singing to something, and it's like one like hanging on the fan.
No. Yeah, I love that.
And the one just watches him like just
yeah, it's like and he literally just it's like and he gets stuck like that. He gets stuck in that thing. His body is like this, gets slams into it, and is just stuck like that. And I'm like,
I love that. It's very cartoonish, but like it's like in a way, but it's so funny.
Oh, another fun thing of trivia. Did you know that this movie was originally supposed to be a sequel to E.T.?
I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently this movie was apparently a sequel to E.T. was going to be made where a bunch of E.T.s came to Earth and started being mischievous. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God. I mean, I'm kind of horrified at the concept, but I'm so glad that that didn't be the case.
Yeah. It just ultimately wouldn't work.
I know. Because the one that was left behind wasn't that much of a mischief maker. Holy shit, man!
This one here I absolutely loved because it's very Looney Tunes, but at the same time you still laugh. Where it's like he's like very noir. Yeah, like like he has like the
drinking alone,
cigarettes, hats, and if one gremlin comes in, he's like
with the fucking puppets, and it's
like with puppets. And he just like looks over. He actually breaks the fourth wall because the gremlin kind of looks over at the audience. Like, can you believe this schmuck? And it picks up a mallet and goes, ding! Like,
I love that. He's like, ding!
I fucking love that scene. I love it.
It's like, oh my God.
You have them actually breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, if you can have a gremlin that could break the fourth wall, dude, that'd be great. There are so many movies where the fourth wall is broken and people don't give them enough credit. I mean, even not Captain America, Coming to America broke the fourth wall a little bit with Arsenio Hall. It's like, this is what I got to live with.
Yeah, 2 technically had it as well, but like here it's like very subtle because it's like all it is the gremlin kind of like just looking over his left shoulder where the audience would be. Like, can you believe this asshole?
Yeah, it's like, I'm trying to drink here by myself. And this motherfucker just had to disturb my drink.
Let's see if I can.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. And everybody says that you didn't see the female gremlin until the second movie. No, they had a bitch gremlin in this one.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right here, man.
I love here.
Yeah. He's like just smoking. He's like, yeah.
And
then
it's
you
kind
get
of the
baby
puppet.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be hearing a lot of that later on, probably a little later on this month or next month, because just recently had a new addition to the family. My brother has a baby boy.
I'm going to risk kind of playing it without sound a little bit. I just want the people to see like this, like, you know, so basically this gremlin comes in and goes, no, like he's like,
yeah. He's just doing his best to annoy the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And then he breaks the fourth wall right here.
Yep. Over here. Boom.
Like, oh, screw
and
this.
Reaches down.
Why am I getting like the top hat and the glasses?
Yeah.
Or the fedora and the glasses? Why am I getting like, I don't know why, but I'm getting Morgan Freeman vibes. My mind is weird.
I don't know about Morgan Freeman. It definitely is noir. Much.
Yeah, it's like, very noir, but I don't know why I'm thinking Morgan Freeman. Because I've never seen him do that get up. And then you also have the freaking mugger gremlin with the ski mask. Mm-hmm. Where's his ears?
It's one of those things where you think like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like after you watch it, you think about it, but at the same time when I'm watching it, I don't pay attention to that because
because that's exactly that. Because I was that's thought hit me. Where's its ears? Just hit me now, and we haven't watched, or we watched it a while ago, and I was like, where's his ears?
I know the ears can move. I'm assuming like they're kind of down, but at the same time, like, but this is like, I think probably my favorite part, or like in the whole movie, is this Dory's Tavern scene with the gremlins.
I think it's everybody's favorite part.
Yeah. And I love how Kate, because that's Phoebe Cates' character, is Katie, like realizes they don't like bright light. They don't like bright lights because all she does is light a match, and she's going to like, you know, like light one of the cigarettes in this gremlin's mouth, because like, and every time the match gets closer to the gremlin, he recoils.
Yeah, he's like,
and she's like, again, another smart character. Yep. They don't like bright lights.
She figures
what she has, because it's a bar, so it's like you would imagine they'd have something like this because of like certain events. A camera, one of those Polaroid cameras that has a bright fucking flash to it, and she uses it to make her way out of the bar, or at least try to make her way out of the bar. I thought before she leaves behind the bar, she reaches up and pulls the cord on the fan to get it to spin faster.
I love that.
So another smart character. Chat. Let me see if I can. Yeah, like this right here. Yeah. So, they don't like bright lights. I really want to show right here. Boom. He reaches up, pulls the chain, and you actually see smoke start to come out of how fast the fan is going. And this one, okay, fair use, YouTube, fair use. I'm not playing any sounds. All right. Boom, boom.
Yeah, right there, man. I love that shot. It's perfect pause, or it's the perfect pose.
Yeah. And he's wearing a Santa hat too, pretty much. Yeah. He's wearing a Santa hat. Movie theaters, awesome. Yes, again, fair use, YouTube. Not playing sound. I'm just playing little bits here and there, pretty much, to show. And here's like the gremlin you're talking
the Disney stuff because Disney will fucking freak out.
This one.
Yeah.
This gremlin.
Where's his ears? I mean, that is creepy enough as it is, but that's the shit the horror movies are made of, man.
Yeah. And what makes it extra like scary is the fact that she's run out of film by the time she gets to this one. So, and he's holding a gun on her, so he's like the mugger gremlin, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And she ducks before the gunshot goes off. And it's like, I love how Billy's car is ultimately like he gets his car working. That's another thing about this movie that I love, like callbacks, is like he can't get his car to start at the beginning of this movie. It's a foreign model.
And get this. It's a German model. The Germans were the ones who were accused of putting gremlins in technology. So it's the German model that works when gremlins are around and everything else doesn't.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Wrap your head around that logic, folks.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're smart. I'm pretty sure they can figure out, trial and error how to use a gun. I mean, Stripe uses a gun. This one uses a gun.
Also, that's a starter pistol, not a full bore 38.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also like she doesn't get it, and then she's like just like moving to see that the gun's tracking her, and so she ducks.
Yeah. So again, smart character. He's like moving, like, oh, like you are following me, so I stuck.
Yeah.
And like this part here, I'm skipping over his parts.
Yeah.
This is another one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Is it's getting like it's not really close to sunup, but it's getting there. So what the gremlins do is they congregate in one spot to kind of hide, since they can't be out in the bright light. So they go to the movie. So they go to the movie theater, which makes sense because it's big. And
Hatersaurus sent me a link of the Gremlin versus the Thing stop motion fight scene. The Thing from Marvel.
Okay.
Okay. That works.
Well, they're watching Snow White. And they actually
love it.
Start singing. Hi ho. Hi ho. They're like, bobbing along to it like this. Like fair use YouTube, no sounds.
Yeah. And I just love that. Hi, hi.
Yeah. And I love like Billy comments on it, like because Kate's like, what are they watching? He's like, they're watching Snow White. And they love it.
And they love it. And so they set a freaking gas up, or they start filling the place up with gas, light a freaking wick, and try to get out. And the only major digital shot was the silhouettes of all the gremlins coming at them.
Yeah.
Through the screen.
Yeah.
And that was such a creepy shot.
Yeah, I love that shot. I absolutely love that shot. And it's like, again, smart characters in a horror movie realizing, hey, they're all here. They're all here. We have a fucking chance to take out every one of them in one go. So he's like, where's the boiler room? And, it's in the back. So, which is like, you can imagine like plausible for her to know that, because I'm imagining Kate had multiple jobs growing up, pretty much, to help support her mother. So it's like one of those like plausible, like I can believe that she would know where the boiler room is in the movie theater. It's like one of like local jobs that you would have as like a teenager. And so Billy rigs it so the gas starts coming out, and they like they basically light a rag, toss it, toss it into the room. So like once the flame hits the gas, it would cause the theater to explode.
And the only reason why Stripe was surviving was because he had a craving for candy, and the concession stand was all empty. And I love that. Yum. Yum.
Yeah, let me see if I can. He looks across the street.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's the mugger gremlin.
Yeah.
And it's shot.
Yeah.
There's one with the sheriff's hats.
Oh my god, yeah. Because the sheriffs got their asses killed because of the brake line.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys straight up killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
The
So
old
Stripe
man in the
left.
freaking mailbox. Yeah, right here. Yeah.
He sees across the street. Candy.
Yeah. And I love it. He has this whole is this whole bundle of candy, and then he sees the place going up, and it's like, no,
Yeah, see if I
not
can.
again. God damn it! How much time? Or how many times do I have to go through this pain of childbirth?
Yeah, pretty much. Explodes.
And I love that. Yeah, his reaction is it's like, no.
Yeah, and I love how he's holding up Three Musketeers, but now I'm craving Three Musketeers. Fuck. He's holding all this candy. He has a Twizzler in his mouth.
Yep. And
now he's pissed. Now he's pissed.
It's like, you son of a...
Because he full-on tries to kill Billy with a chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. And he fucks with Billy, too. He's like, he's using a camera that records his face on a bunch of TVs and shit. Yeah. And then he freaking goes after Billy with the chainsaw and a crossbow.
Yeah.
And saw blades. He's like, okay, you fucking killed all of my family. I'm going to kill you dead.
Yeah.
I mean, Stripe is one of the most vindictive motherfuckers in movie history and movie monster history. This is a monster that is going to want to
Hey, Bruce.
slaughter. Let's just put it that way.
Like that, like this part here is like what I mean. There was like a lot of creepy moments in this movie. I'm saying like it's a good thing because I love this movie, but there were a lot. Like there was like a good number of apprehensive moments in this like scene, especially when Billy and Kate split up and Billy's going after him, and like Stripe is actually stalking him.
Yep.
In this place, you also see like ET figures, dolls that Stripe is hiding behind.
Good product placement
there. His head out.
Because it was supposed to be an ET movie.
Yeah, he's just watching Billy. Yeah, the mom scene was pretty creepy too. Like the mom, like leading up to the mom scene was creepy. This was creepy too because of the apprehension it builds up. Because like Stripe doesn't outright attack Billy. He plays cat and mouse game with him first.
Yep.
So it was one of those elements like, where's Stripe going to strike? Like what's he going to do? While Kate is trying to find the breaker box to get the lights on. And like I'm gonna see like you see like Looney Tunes, like speaking of Looney Tunes, you see, and he's like turning on like these toys and things like that to draw Billy's attention, sort of thing. Like he's like really messing with Billy before he decides to strike. And another thing that like the second movie does with Gizmo's character that I kind of like forgot to touch upon is like Gizmo's like you get a sense up to this point Gizmo has not watched television. He has not watched anything.
Well,
because the grandfather chastises the family. It's like, you teach him to watch television.
He was watching the car thing earlier in the movie.
No, I'm saying it's like up until when he gets to the family.
Oh yeah,
he has not had any experience watching anything on TV.
Yeah,
so it very much influences his behavior, especially now, because he decides like he's going to help Billy, and how he does that, in a way, is by getting a Barbie car. And driving a Barbie car, because he's influenced by this movie I can't remember what the movie's name is. I've seen the movie with Clark Gable and Barbara Stanwyck. Clark Gable plays a race car driver in that movie. So very much TV very much influences Gizmo's behavior from Living with the Pelchers forward.
And Rand Peltzer's finally getting back into town, by the way, because
Yeah.
he was at an inventors convention.
Mhm.
And I love what he says to his wife. Yeah, the competition was a little bit more advanced than I expected. Fucking
Oh, yeah, there's another thing I
robots
forgot to
going
say.
around.
Well, you see Robbie the robot
Yeah.
walking around. You see the time machine from George Powell's adaptation of the Time Machine.
Yep.
And what I love is it looks like be like a working model of the time machine, because the next shot you see of Rand Peltzer talking on the phone, the time machine is gone, because you see a guy sitting in it and like working the controls to please the lady. Thank you. I've seen the movie. I've seen parts of the movie. I knew what the movie. But see Robbie the robot walking around and talking. Robbie the robot was used in multiple films, but the movie he's known for is why the fuck am I blanking on that name?
Oh my god.
It's with the young Leslie Nielsen, Walter Pidgeon, Anne Francis. Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
That's what he's like probably most known for, is Forbidden Planet. And trying to get, and like I love how they changed it, because like, you know, again, the dog was originally supposed to die in early drafts of this movie, but here to explain the dog surviving, as like, you know, it's a good plausible explanation, is the father, Rand Peltzer, takes the dog, drops the dog off at Billy's grandmother's house while Rand is going to this convention, or this inventors convention and so forth. And then he's going to pick up Barney on the way back. I'm definitely happy the dog survived.
Yeah.
Fuck Mrs. Deagle. I don't care that she died.
Yeah.
The dog lived. And it's like again, thank you for changing it, because that makes sense. That makes sense because the Gremlins, before they become Gremlins, string Barney up with Christmas lights.
And they blamed it on Mrs. Deagle because
because she threatened
the dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, we couldn't find a track or anything. So that tells you right there.
Yeah. But it makes sense for like Billy's mind to go automatically go to Mrs. Deagle, because he literally had her threaten his dog in front of people at like where he works at the bank. It's like it had to be her.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they kind of got. I think that's where the Mogwai heard Mrs. Deagle's name. They started catching wind of like Deagle's name, because it looked like they knew.
Oh yeah.
When they find her residence, they find the name and they go Deagle, like that, like Deagle kind of thing.
Deagle.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that's where they started getting. Oh, okay.
This is somebody we can really play with.
Yeah. So yeah, so like the father's just getting back into town. Barney somehow senses something from the car and like runs in, like to everything going on pretty much.
Warner Brothers might be getting sued.
Oh, what now?
Apparently they said that, or they actually stated on the record that her role was cut down to 5 minutes. And apparently it's coming out that she was in a lot longer than 5 minutes.
You know about Amber Heard?
Yeah, that's false advertising. They can get sued for that. Sorry, but I'm also paying attention to you. Don't worry.
Oh, no, but I can't really play this whole sequence because it is it's long. It's even without sound, it's long. But like I said, Stripe goes after him with throws saw blades at him, like those.
I mean, yeah, those straight straight buzz saws. Yeah.
Yeah, buzz saws at him. Tennis balls, like he rigs a tennis ball machine to hit Billy.
And that scene there where he's holding his back, he actually hurt his back. Scene.
Look at the ball, the speed that those balls come out of the machine, like hit him right in the fucking small of the back.
No, that was when he got shoved back into the casing, and the small of his back was right against the protruding area.
Yeah, and like Stripe goes after him with the crossbow. You see here, Billy blocks the bows with the boom box and does a smart
Takes a
thing and
bolt in
tosses
the
the
arm, too.
box at Stripe to get him to
Yeah.
the duck, and that's when you hear the like,
and it's
the,
like,
the
oh,
oh
you
shit,
gotta be fucking kidding me.
and he comes out from this clothes rack with the chainsaw.
And it's like, no, no. I mean, that was one of the scariest parts of the film, folks. When he
Yeah.
comes out with the fucking chainsaw, it's like,
Like this thing.
oh shit,
Yeah, like I said, he
ain't playing.
yeah. At this point, Stripe is pissed. I love Stripe is pissed. I'm not saying he could have killed Billy or anything like that, but he let Billy live early on, pretty much. Stripe escaped because he knew he needed numbers. Let Billy and his mother live, pretty much. Now Billy is not not only has the mother killed his brothers, all right, the Gremlins brothers, essentially, but now Billy's taken out all of them again.
Mm-hmm.
So this Gremlin is now full on straight up trying to murder
Homicidal.
Billy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or straight up murderous.
Yeah, before he just wanted to cause mischief. Dangerous mischief. Right? But he just wanted to cause mischief. Now he wants to kill Billy. And this I love too, because that's when Kate finds the finally finds the breaker box and the switches, starts switching them on, and blind Stripe and of this. And I guess this is the home and garden department where they have a fountain. Somehow have a working fountain still going. That turns on when she flips the switches on. So I don't think Stripe would have realized this if Kate hadn't flipped the right switch, which turned the fountain on. So he sees the fountain and he sees the gun. And I love how he waits for Billy. He actually waits for Billy to find him before he sticks his finger in the water, because I think he wants Billy to see as a fuck you to him.
You're gonna die, and you're gonna die with the knowledge that I won.
Yeah, this again, this.
That right there, looking now, is actually a translation. It was just him not even saying anything definitive.
I know, yeah. The subtitles are off on this, the Amazon one.
It's not just the Amazon; it's also on. It's also on Vudu. It's also on YouTube and everything. I love Barney's coming in, and that's when Gizmo just drives right by, and Barney's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, that's what I said. That's why I said earlier. The dog had the best reactions interacting with these animatronics that have worked. So when Gizmo comes in driving the Barbie mobile, pretty much, Barney's like, "What the fuck?"
Barney's like, "I'm gonna kill that thing,"
and follows Gizmo. And you hear the dialogue from the movie, Gizmo's remembering it as he's driving the car, which is a basically again a callback to the movie he watched. And Gizmo is ultimately the one who saves the day. I kind of love that, how it comes full circle, where Gizmo's not through the fault of Gizmo. It's the Gremlins, the evil Mogwai spawn from him, and he's the one who ultimately ends it.
Yep.
He's the one who ultimately ends it.
I started this trouble. Time that I finish it.
So I want to show. I love all. This is also a very creepy scene, because he just sticks his finger in it, and then you see these little bubbles, balls forming on his back that kind of like how they spawned out of Gizmo, but they're spawning this really disgustingly on his back. They call back to it in 2, yeah.
Oh yeah, because you also see the little gremlins through the pustules.
Yeah. So Stripes says Gizmo.
Yep.
Yeah. This right here, I love the effects for this. Gizmo. Pow, pow.
Yeah.
It's really.
I love it. Boom. And smack. Just, it's like,
Yeah.
dude, your neck would have been broken.
I know. The effects for this, like, oh my god.
Yeah. Holy shit, dude. This was also nightmare inducing.
Yeah.
The Gremlin skeleton. Everybody says that the freaking Ghostbusters purple woman ghastly form was reused for Fright Night, but man, they could have used the freaking Gremlin skeleton for Fright Night. Holy shit,
Yeah.
dude.
Thank you for the $5 super chat, Mike Hill. Warner Brothers accused Disney with Baby Yoda resembles Gizmo. So
Joe Dante did
stretch.
that.
It's a stretch.
He came out fucking flipping out on Disney. It's like, what the fuck? You guys stealing from Gremlins now?
Which I don't. I mean, to be fair to him, I don't blame him for feeling like that because Disney is kind of capitalizing on the cuteness factor sort of situation, kind of like with like Gizmo and things like that. But at the same time, it's like it's a stretch to say that they're it's full on stealing that pretty much. It's a baby version of Yoda's species. So I'm like, okay, cool it. All right, just it's not a.
I mean, here's the thing, folks. Baby Yoda might be a thing, but you're never going to get any better than that frickin' Ewok from SWTOR. I mean, that was a cute motherfucker, and she was a Mandalorian.
So
Ewok.
I'm still other two, Gizmo.
Yeah, definitely Giz.
Definitely Gizmo.
Gizmo is life. Gizmo is love.
But Disney, they're thieves. They pretty much they
have no originality. They don't have any originality.
Copy and paste, but like with Baby Yoda, it's a stretch.
Yeah,
it's a stretch. But like I said, it's full on nightmare fuel, and kind of like to wrap this up without going to details. The grandfather finally arrives at the family's residence, and he walked. This man walked
from fucking New York Chinatown to frickin' what's this town called? Kings Hills or
Kings Falls, something like that.
Kingston Falls.
Yeah. Kingston
Falls. To Kingston Falls, northern New York. It's like, dude walked from there to the. It's like, holy shit, man! And he just shows up without even knocking.
Yeah,
it's like rude.
Yeah, I like that he just walks in and he scares the mom. And Rand's like, "Oh, honey, this is the man who sold me the Mogwai," and Grandpa's like, "Sold." An interesting choice of words, and he just like dumps the money,
drops the money.
Yeah,
it's like
interesting
mic
choice
drop, bitch. And then he hears about little green men. The freaking reporter is like not believing shit of any of what has been reported in this place. It's like, yeah, and they were talking about little green men. Yeah. And well, the old man knows better. He's like,
I warned you.
You didn't listen. It's like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's like, I warned you, but you didn't listen. And now look what happened. Like he's like, in the case of the TV, pretty much. Like, it's Mogwai. With Mogwai comes great responsibility, but you didn't listen.
I love how he's like, you teach him to watch television.
Yeah, he's like,
I mean, it reminds me so much of Jackie Chan Adventures from when we were a kid, or when I was a kid. It's like, the uncle.
And it's like sad in a way because he's taking Gizmo away, but at the same time,
oh, Gizmo was ratting out the freaking family and everything. Or if you pay attention to throughout the credits, you can actually hear the old man saying, "Oh, really? Oh, wow."
Yeah.
He's responding. Because Gizmo's basically freaking ratting out Billy and all of them. It's like, this fucker dumped me on the freaking trash can, smacking my head all over the place for getting me wet and shit. Can you believe this, Grandpa? It's like, I can only imagine the conversation. Because because it's like, if you go back, you hear Gizmo. It's like, oh, man, what the hell's wrong with you? Dropping him and shit.
Key Luke, the original Uncle Ben, essentially.
Damn straight, man.
Hey, Corey.
Yeah,
it still holds up. Yeah, it's going to be 40 years old next year, and it still holds up.
Yep.
So basically, the grandfather takes the Mogwai back, but at least leaves it open. I mean, we do get a sequel about 6 years later.
Yeah.
Leaves it open that at some point, when he says
radio's on the fritz or something's not working.
I'm trying to think of what he says to Billy. He says, when you're ready, Mogwai will be waiting, something like that.
Yes, when you're ready, Mogwai will be waiting.
Yeah, leaves it open that it's this is not the end sort of situation. Leaves it open.
Yep.
And it ends with Rand Peltzer saying, "So if your refrigerator goes on the fritz or this happens or this happens, before you check it out, turn on all the lights.
Check under your bed.
Let me see.
You never know. A gremlin
just might be a gremlin. I know there's a quote. The entire quote's on IMDb.
Yeah, there just might be a gremlin in your house.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun,
he's Rand Peltzer starts the story because he's the one telling the story essentially. He's open, he's not narrating the movie, but this is a story he's telling pretty much because he starts kind of narrating at the beginning of the movie when you see him following the kid into the grandfather's shop. And he has the last line. It's well, that's the story. So if your air conditioner goes on the fritz, or your washing machine blows up, or your video recorder conks out, before you call the repairman, turn on all the lights, check all the closets and cupboards, look under all the beds, because you never can tell. There just might be a gremlin in your house. That's why I put there just might be a gremlin on the thumbnail.
And the thing is, the way that I see it, as he is telling a story, I mean, it's just fantasizing it, really. It's as if he's telling it to his grandkids, Maybe Billy and Kate finally had kids after Gremlins 2 and whatnot.
So that, or it's a warning, pretty much, because he starts out his first line is, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Let me see if it's in the quotes. Rand. Can't remember what he says. Okay, the first line's on the last line. He's friends, let me introduce myself. Peltzer's the name, Rand Peltzer. That's me on the corner. I'm an inventor. I have a story to tell. Yeah, I know. Who hasn't got a story? Well, nobody's got a story like this one. Nobody. It all started here in Chinatown. I was hitting the shops, trying to move a little merchandise, and maybe even find a present for my kid. I tried this one place. And I think so he's kind of as a warning. It's let me I have a story for you.
Yeah, it's if you're in Chinatown, don't go to this freaking old man's store. He's going to sell you a gremlin.
Yeah, pretty much. Sorry, Mud Crab. Sorry. Just reminded you of how old you are. But anyway. Mudcrab, would it make you feel any better if I told you if I messaged you how old I am? Yeah, so that's the end of the movie, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll be talking Gremlins 2 next week. And that's the more family friend, that's the one that leans more into the family friendly sort of approach. A little bit more into the comedy, but still dark. Shut up, Gravy. Still on the dark side, but you do have the smart gremlin. I love the smart gremlin in the movie. my favorite scene in Gremlins 2, and I'll reiterate this next week when we talk about it, is when he's giving this interview and he's talking about civilized and how gremlins aren't civilized. And much like the scene with the film noir gremlin in this movie, where it's like this other gremlin kind of pops up.
Yeah.
It's like take this one over here, and it's like he's explaining, and he pulls out a gun.
Yeah.
It's like, was that civilized? Fun, but in no way civilized. I always says fun.
Yeah, right.
In no way civilized.
I mean, that freaking talking gremlin is, oh my god, dude. And people, it's like, or I love the meme that they turned that female gremlin into. It's like where Anakin is like, Master Yoda, I found this picture of you back in early years of Jedi Academy or whatever, and it shows the female gremlin and going through a phase I was.
I message you, Mud Crab. So I'm just gonna type something. There. So in the private chat, but anyway. But there it is. That is Gremlins, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll be talking the sequel next week. But tomorrow, before next week, you can find me on Orange Chat's channel talking the movie Krampus.
Yep, tomorrow night we're talking Krampus.
Gravy, like I said earlier, I don't choose violence. You choose what hill you want to die on, apparently.
It's
the same actor for Billy. Zach Galligan returns. Phoebe Cates returns. Even Dick Miller returns to reprise his role as Mr. Futterman, as well as the actress who plays his wife in this movie return.
Yep. Donald Glover comes in.
Yeah.
I mean, I will always know Donald Glover from Smallville, but the first movie I ever saw Donald Glover in was Gremlins 2.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the first movie I've seen him in too.
Yeah.
And then after that, it got to a point where it's like you see him in one movie, and then all of a sudden he just pops up.
No, wait. The first movie I ever saw him in was freaking RoboCop 2, and then Gremlins 2.
I saw Gremlins 2 before RoboCop, so Gremlins 2 was like the first for me.
No, wait, yep. No, wait, yeah, right. Now that I think about it, yeah, I saw Gremlins 2 before RoboCop 2. Because I saw RoboCop 2 in like 92. And I saw Gremlins 2 in theaters, which was kind of almost semi-traumatizing when the new Spike came out.
John Glover. You mean John?
Or yeah,
Glover.
John Glover, not Donald Glover. Why was I thinking Donald Glover?
John Glover. Yeah. Sorry, is I didn't catch that, but John Glover is in Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the actress's name. I gotta look this up. She was in quite a few 80s films. Haviland Morris. She was in she was in 16 Candles, and she appears in this movie in Gremlins 2 as well.
She was the one that was kind of hitting on Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Billy was praised by John Glover's character, who owns
the building. Yeah.
Building. So it's kind of like it's like she's a little bit of a I don't want to say a gold digger, but something like if you're successful, she kind of gravitates towards
corporate ladder climber.
Corporate ladder climber.
But she's doing it through all of the Kamala Harris tactics, shall we say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you a young person. You young person.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Krampus tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I do have my thoughts on that movie. Overall, I do enjoy Krampus, but I will give my thoughts tomorrow when we talk about it on Orange Chat's channel. So Orange Chat, let everybody know again where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, tomorrow, my channel. Friday is Orange Hat Uncensored, where me and Janet from Another Planet, Ruben Haynes, and Bruce from Dick's Division all get together and talk about different topics. Sundays is my weekly recap, where I go over certain topics. Tuesdays are the theme streams. Next week is going to be covering is First Blood, a Christmas movie. And January theme streams are going to be movies that are very similar and which one is better. So it's going to be like Deep Impact versus Armageddon and such. So that's January's run for the theme streams. As well as there is a Godzilla -1 discussion planned. Mara's going to get back to me on that, whether or not she can join.
I meant to say, like, I'll get back to you because you gave me the date. So
yeah, July or January 4th is the plan for it. Also Tuesdays is theme streams, and also Tuesday nights is Society Reviews' Barroom Podcast, where me and the Barroom Podcasters are all giving our thoughts on basically a different entertainment recap, sports, and other stuff too. Chances are we're going to be discussing the Colorado situation. And yep, Wednesday is the other ones and twos with Mara. So twice a month I'm with Mara on ones and twos, and twice a month she's on my channel for Thursday singles. So yeah. Other than that, I do my best to get content out that I find relevant. I recently put out a thing on Aquaman 2 and how it's probably going to bomb at the box office, especially now. But yeah, there's that, plus another videos. Plus, I also have my Godzilla -1 review, but I do really want to do a deep dive discussion on that. That's going to be good. Scary but true. Godzilla -1 is more historically accurate than Napoleon. Yeah, right.
yeah, it actually is.
Yeah,
it actually is.
It really is
accurate.
It really is.
And
it had a giant monster in it.
So,
but yeah, that's all planned, and you can also find me on Twitter at orangehat2185.
Yeah, so my Twitch, so I mainly do my gaming streams on Kick, but I will try to do a Twitch stream this Saturday afternoon, playing some more of the Resident Evil DLC again, in my Ada Wong cosplay. And then Friday should be the finals game. I have to get in touch with Cowman and see if he still wants to play that. Thrown by Gremlins, which is where someone sent me this NECA figure, which I absolutely love. He has like playing cards to go with it, cigarettes, another candy bar, a beer stein instead of a movie drink sort of situation.
Should have gave him a smokeless ashtray too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, smokeless ashtray. I love that. I love how like Rand Peltzer is giving it to the grandfather as he's leaving, and the grandfather goes, "Smokeless ashtray." Like, how'd you know that? Like, man at gas station tried to sell me.
Very generous of you.
And he takes it because it's like, okay.
It's like, all right, might come in handy.
Yeah.
And he even says it. It's like, might come in handy.
Yeah. So
this movie is really, really do love this movie because it's a good feel-good movie, even though it's funny as hell and scary as shit.
Yeah. What would happen if you gave a gremlin weed? You know what? If they ever made a Gremlins 3, I would have loved for them to see what that's like.
Gremlins in the hood.
Yeah. They have them cause mischief in the hood, and they stumble across these stoners.
Yeah,
and
like,
dude, you want to hit?
Yo,
yeah,
you want hit?
These stoner girls just probably stoned out of their fucking minds.
Oh shit! Graham's
hey, Phil, we're wrapping up. Hope you enjoy the replay, but good to see you.
Hey, Phil, congratulations on 800, by the way, Phil.
Yeah.
Definitely congrats on
that. A friend indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Weed is a friend indeed, yes. So
gonna have to see if Cider will give a gremlin weed.
But anyway, thank you all, chat, for hanging out with us. I have to take my dog out again, so she sleeps through the night.
Yep.
Doesn't wake up to go pee. So again, tomorrow is Krampus. Next week is Gremlins 2, followed by Violent Night, which is like
Alright.
Die Hard meets Home Alone meets feel good Christmas movie with Santa Claus, essentially.
With a Stephen King ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. If you're Mud Crab, get off his lawn. And I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.
All right.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.